Hello, anybody who happens to watch this. Recording an update mainly for ourselves, but awesome to share as well. This is mid of July, July 18th, I believe, Saturday. And we're gonna do some major gardening work this weekend to get some crops out that have bolted and that are done, and to put some mid-season crops in that can still grow by fall time. So kind of gonna go over what's been going on here. We didn't have time to replant a lot of these tomatoes, unfortunately. We have a lot of tomatoes growing on the trellis, but these guys survived and bearing fruit amazingly. Tomatoes do like to survive. That's great. This apple tree has one apple on it that hopefully will ripen. It's a Honeycrisp. These peppers been doing well. We've been gathering, picking from them, but we had a lot of problems with slugs and such. So yeah, you can see here we had a bunch of rains, some heavy rain days, and these guys just do like to go for the peppers a lot. So, but these peppers are awesome. These black peppers. Some of them are red, but mostly black. They're really nice and yummy. Cooking with them all the time. Great. Doing great. We're getting some white white raspberries here. They are ripening. They're very yummy. Let's see if we can get a look at these. Very beautiful ones. Replanted the spring onions into the ground. They're gonna come up again next year. They're not annuals. They're perennials. So this is the apricot tree here. We're letting most of our asparagus bolt now to go to full growth and seeds. Those seeds, those little berries there are poisonous. Do not eat them. This echinacea is from last year. Came up on its own. That's awesome. Same thing with this little guy. The foxglove. He came up on its own. It's spreading. It's really nice. Hopefully over time it'll grow bigger. Let's see, we have some chives here. They're still growing, still small. All of these lettuces have bolted. All of the mustards have bolted, but we are waiting for them to go to all to seed and see if we can collect the seeds and make something out of them actually. Very pretty. The bees like the flowers. And I still pick the leaves once in a while. They're strong tasting, but really yummy. The blueberries are ripening. We actually gathered a lot of blueberries a day ago or so. They were really, really good. So that's coming out all right there. See if we can get some in there. There's some blueberries in there. Okay. The tomatoes are doing great. We've been picking tomatoes a lot. We have a bunch of different kinds of tomatoes. The golden ones, the white currant, are the kids' favorite. My daughter loves them a lot. They're really sweet, little juicy sweet tomatoes. We have a lot of big ones, beefsteak ones we've been gathering also. These are still ripening. They're really massive, huge. Yeah, it's been overgrowing. We did not prune too well. It's going all the way to the top. That's good, but the bottom is very messy now. So some lessons, there's lots of lessons to be learned from this grow season. I think these are black prints, tomatoes, really good tomatoes, great whites right here. They're still ripening, but we do pick. And we put another bed in, another raised bed here for beans, long beans, dragon beans, and long purple beans. We have bunnies. We have a new litter of bunnies that came in like a month ago or so. So there's like 4 or 5 bunnies from one family running around. And big lesson is here that they do eat the garden. So we had a bunch of things spring up here and get eaten right away. Some of these are still going. The bunny fence, we have it on the weed, but they still get through it. So we just didn't really have the time to put it up around other places yet. Probably should do a better job at protecting our crops. Tomatoes, more tomatoes here. They're all really good, and a lot of them have ripened and will continue to ripen throughout the season. These are really beautiful. Okay, look at these guys. All kinds of tomatoes that we planted this year. Goji berry needs some help. He's not doing too well. Probably need to fertilize him or just replant them into the ground. We've been having some strawberries, some really yummy kind of white strawberries, but they do get eaten as well. They were good. The peanuts doing so, probably too wet for them. The ones that were outside this protective cage did get eaten by the bunnies. And those are potatoes over there, like in a rows. And those were blue potatoes that I planted from the store. And they're doing okay, they're doing well. But the new potatoes, I got more potatoes, more like white type of potatoes, and they were in that section where I'm pointing kind of. And I think as soon as they start coming up, the bunnies start eating them. Even though potato is nightshade family, so it's not really good for the animals. It's poisonous. I don't know the difference, but that little clump right there that came up got eaten as well, and that was from a sweet potato. Just to try the one sweet potato that we had. This fennel thing is doing well. It's big, large, doing well. I should be picking more from it. Now, peppers over here, more different kinds of peppers. Again, mostly slug problems. Some centipedes as well, here and there. But they're maturing. They're doing okay. We picked garlic. We get a lot of garlic. There's still some, I think, that here and there. There's one laying around that we kind of forgot to gather. These are from planted last season. So garlic is basically over, and then will have to be replanted in the fall for next year. And peaches are coming up. They have a lot of peaches. Some of them dropped, but there's still a small trees here. But they're doing well. They're doing pretty well for their size, I think. So we'll see. They're not ripe enough to pick. We'll see how they do. This tomato trellis also getting, the tomatoes are getting very long and large. Some of them broke off actually because there's a lot of weight on them. The tomatoes are very heavy. But overall, we're pretty satisfied with this tomato grow. This was the first time trying trellis, and we have to do a better job with pruning it and supporting them. Like, look at this huge tomato. This is изумрудная шкатулка. That's a kind of a Russian species of tomato. All of these seeds were bought from Missouri nursery. I think these are rareseeds.com. I believe so. And they have a lot of all the heritage breeds there. These all heritage breeds. Look at how big these are. Beautiful tomatoes. They're more ripened ones on the other by the other fence that we planted tomatoes to. Yeah. So those big leaves over there are winter squash. So they're growing okay. We'll see how they do. Mostly experimental area here. All right. So I got this. Tomatoes, mostly tomatoes for the crop. This is the comfrey. Yep, comfrey overgrew again. We cut it like twice already for the animals and for the comfrey tea, and it's doing really, really well. Let's see. Let's go through here. It's a really quick walkthrough, kind of an update before we do a lot of pulling out and a lot of cleaning and just regrowing of other things in the midsummer. These are the first batch of potatoes we planted. They're doing okay. We've been picking the potato bugs off of them. Not completely, but we try. So it's doing okay. These guys are all raspberries over here. They're not bearing yet, but we did see some growth on them in terms of the actual berries. More comfrey back there. This bed is just a mix of mints and whatever else we tried in there. Probably should have just left it all as mint instead of trying to pull it out. All of these lettuces have bolted. I still pick from them. They're kind of bitter, but they're still edible in a kind of like a salad with vinegar, and it's still edible. But we are letting things go to bolt in some places to try to collect the seeds, seeing how that goes. But we might just pull out this bed and replant it with something else, like beets. Beets, it's a good time for beets. Back there are beans we planted, and actually I noticed this today, but it looks like 1 or 2 days ago something got into that protective cage and ate a bunch of the plants. I'm not sure how it did it, but apparently something did happen there because a bunch of the plants are completely eaten through. There were like 6 plants in there. Now it's only 3 or 4 remaining. There's more than 6 in there. Okay, well, lessons. Many lessons here. I moved everything out of this bed. We're gonna take this bed out completely to make space. It's just because nothing really grows here. There's the water falls from the roof right here right into it, so nothing grows really well. So the kales are replanted, and the kale did really well here. It wasn't doing well in the other bed. It did really well here. These oreganos are doing great. They sprouted on their own back here. I just let them grow, and I pick from them all the time, share with the neighbors. They're awesome. Good spice. This little thing is overgrown. Cilantro was here with a bunch of other things. Not really doing a good job with weeding things out, but the cilantro is going to coriander seeds now, and those are awesome to collect. There we go. Okay, now a major update on the trees is that we have these pawpaw trees. So we had 3 of them. This one was doing well, the other 2 were dying. But what the cool thing that happened is that they starting to come up. The top of the pawpaw tree died, like this. This all died, but on the root, a new growth started to come up. And last time I took the video, it was very tiny, but now it's actually growing up really well. So that's good. That's great. We're not gonna lose the tree. It's just gonna regrow from the beginning, which is awesome. Same thing happened here. It died on the top. All of this died, but it started growing again from the base, from the root system, basically. Right over there. So I'm really glad that happened. These pawpaws are full-size trees, and they take a long time to grow to maturity. We will have to replant them in the ground this year and hope that they survive the winter. So okay, trees over here, some flowers that spread up by themselves from last year. So they must have dropped seed last year. We planted some summer flowers here, and a few came up. We still haven't actually put flowers in intentionally this year. Maybe there's still a chance to do that, hopefully. But it's nice to see them come up on their own. Okay. So here is our wheat field, and that's ready to be harvested. It was an experiment, and we're not going to do that again, but it was interesting to see how the wheat grows and what the conditions are. And the light wasn't consistent enough here, and a lot of it got eaten by the bunnies again. So several problems. So it's very inconsistent in terms of the yield here, like different sizes, patches of nothing, some long, some short, but they are ready. They are ready to be harvested. We picked a few of these, opened them up, and there are actual wheat berries in there that can be processed and eaten, basically, cooked and eaten. Tomatoes. Okay, so these are some really nice examples of tomatoes. I think this is a pineapple one. Really nice, beautiful tomato, almost ready to be picked. Just gonna quickly go through these tomatoes just to show differences here. What kind of different kinds? Black prints, this guy. It says black prints on it. Not completely sure if it is, but not all of them were labeled correctly, and not all of them actually retained the labels. These are very beautiful. This is the изумрудная шкатулка, and that's when it actually is ripe. So these 2 can be picked. Trying to get in there. Beautiful big beefsteak tomato, really good, yummy, meaty, good, great for sandwiches. This beautiful guy, I think that's a pineapple one. Okay, these ones are very interesting, really yummy looking. We haven't tasted these yet, but we have been picking. We have been picking quite a few. And look at these yummy guys, beautiful. This is a huge one over here. So tomatoes did well. There's lessons to be learned about pruning them better, getting the suckers off in time, because if they leave the suckers on, they grow into completely new branches that just take the nutrients from the main stems and keep, they fall over. That all happens. Okay, so that's basically the overview of the garden progress. We will do a lot of gardening work this weekend. So I want to take like a timestamp of what's going on before we take things out. Okay, so I planted the grass, new grass again. There was a spell of about 5-6 days of rain, and I took advantage of that. Put in some new grass seed, and it did grow back as much as it could. Yeah, I saw a bunny over there. The rooster that walks around all the time, he's been, getting to a lot of grass that's closer to the chickens, but most of this stuff that looks kind of fresher is new. So that was new growth. And we're getting ready to let the chickens out again into the grass. So we'll see how long the grass actually lasts after we let them out this weekend. We'll kind of connect this segment again so they can have access to this grass. Yep. So yeah, it grew quite a bit, quite fast. So I'm glad about that. Hi chickens. And the bunnies. Let's see if you can take a close up to the bunny. Oh, the white one doesn't like the company. Hi Thumper. Hi. Hi sweetie. Oh, good boy. Okay, well there's not much going on back there new, so I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna quickly walk over to the hydro bed because there are some updates there. There's some big lessons to be learned with that one. Overall it did really great though. There's a catbird. We have a whole bunch of bird families and nests around us. Oh, beautiful sun. Look at that. Hi. You see that one? Okay. Hi. Hello. Yeah, you're very nice. There's a nest right by the window with her and her young. It really does sound like a cat. Before we knew what it was, we really thought it was a cat there, somewhere in the bushes. Okay, so walking over real quick here. Let's see. These berries kind of stopped doing there's still berries growing on them, but they're very tiny. The midsummer is not really their season. Early summer is. But they were great. And there's still a few on there. Okay, let's see real quick here. More peppers over here. So these are the same kind of black peppers. I don't remember the name of these. Sometimes they yield like pure red like that. Beautiful. Oh, they're really good. And these are purple bell peppers, which have not really all ripened yet. We need to try. Last time we tried it, it wasn't completely full ripened. But they look interesting. So there's 3 plants in there, 3 pepper plants, and there's one right here. Okay. So the hydro bed doing well. The kale is doing great. I've been picking from all of this. These are some new stuff we put in right here. These are new. There's more things to put in once we take things out. Yeah, kale is doing great. All of this lettuce was doing great. It was a mint lettuce. Now it's bolted. It has bolted. I still eat it, but it's time for it to be changed. And if you notice, this white styrofoam sheet, it's bending. It's curving in, and we're afraid that if you leave this older stuff much longer on there, it will just gonna break in half, like snap in the middle, under the weight of all these plants. So that's another thing. You need to figure out how much weight it can support and for how long. So yeah, there's basils, and we have not. We tried to pick from it a lot, but apparently not a lot, not enough, because it has gone to flower, and once it does that, it produces less of the leaves. So we're gonna trim a lot of it back. We're still gonna keep it because it's still good, but trim a lot of it back. One of them started to die off several days ago. I'm not sure what happened there, but it has to be taken out and replaced. These are 2 different kinds of basils in here. There's a holy basil in here. This was the big, large leaf basil. But yeah, there's different types in here. There's a lemon one in here that's really yummy. Peas did really well. We harvested a lot of these yesterday. This was one experimental pea plant in here. There's still a few on here, if you can see. It harvested probably like 20 of these yesterday from just this one plant. So yeah, this was a mustard, some kind of a mustard that went to seed. Okay, and these guys are basically waiting their turn. I'm not sure if I want to keep them in this coffee containers forever, but they can probably go into this bed while something's cleared out. And all of those lettuces that were the main lettuces that we were picking all the time, they did all go to seed. They bolted, but we are waiting for them to provide actual seeds. We want to collect them for next year. Yeah, and I think that that will be successful here, it looks like. Oh, look at that. Look at those flowers. I didn't even notice that. Wow, beautiful. Yeah, well, the bees and the bumblebees and all kinds of creatures can have them until we're ready to harvest from them the actual seeds. Okay, well, that's about it. And the roses are gonna actually open up soon. That will be beautiful. Not sure if the St. John's Wort. Yeah, there's one flower. It's so beautiful. St. John's Wort. The flowers are gorgeous. When the rain comes, it does drop off a lot of petals, but uh, this is a gorgeous plant. We're gonna replant it in a lot of places. We collected seeds from it last year. All right. Well, thank you for checking out, and we'll make another video. And the next time there's a major update. All right. Bye bye.